Welcome, everyone. My name is Rich Raposa. I'm in charge of training here at ClickHouse, and this is our Preparing for the ClickHouse Certified Developer Exam webinar. The goal being here is that hopefully by the end of this, you'll have a really good sense of what the exam is like, and also a good sense of what you need to do to prepare to take the exam and also to pass the exam, hopefully. So, all right, so let's get started. Like I said, my name's Rich. I'm on the training team here at ClickHouse. Today, we're going to talk about put the topics here into 4 different categories. I'll just talk briefly about why to get certified, and then I'll talk about how to prepare for the exam, and then the exam environment. I'll actually walk through a sample test. I have a few questions that I put in the actual exam environment so you can see what it's like. And then we'll talk about what to do after you get certified, because that's always kind of the fun part. So, all right. So, why get certified? It's a really good question. So we currently have one exam. We have the ClickHouse Certified Developer exam. And so we have one certification. It's the only official certification for ClickHouse that there is. And, we'll probably have other exams in the future, but this really is the key one. Most people that use our software, that use our database, are developers that are building applications. They're solving problems. They're doing real-time analytics. They're doing observability, maybe some machine learning or something. And so these are people that need to have kind of a broad spectrum, maybe not so much focused on how to set up ClickHouse. That's really not the intent of a ClickHouse certified developer, but more of, especially with ClickHouse Cloud, by the way. I mean, you don't have to set up ClickHouse with our cloud environment, but you do need to understand ClickHouse. It's so important to understand what is different and what is unique about ClickHouse, as opposed to all the other databases that you're used to. So why get certified? Well, I mean, if you're the subject matter expert at your company, I would assume that career growth would be sort of an obvious benefit of being certified. I mean, if you are the person at work that understands all the details of ClickHouse, how do primary keys work, that's so different than your average database. How do you optimize your queries by defining things like materialized views or skipping indexes or projections or those types of things. These are all aspects of being a subject matter expert that hopefully will give you lots more opportunities at your wherever you work. So, um, obviously, a goal of being certified would be the fact that if you are the expert at ClickHouse, um, hopefully you can make it go faster. One thing that always happens with ClickHouse is no matter how fast your queries are, everyone's always trying to make the queries go a little bit faster. And so the more you understand about ClickHouse, all the way from, the big things that you can do to improve your queries to the little things you can do to improve everything about your systems, like picking the right data types for the right data, and picking the right primary key and the right partitioning of your data makes a huge difference. And so those are very important aspects of ClickHouse. And then finally, one other reason to get certified, hopefully, if once you get certified, you'll be able to, take that recognition out to the world, out to the community, and, maybe give a talk at a meetup or a conference or something, or maybe do something internally at work, demo something about ClickHouse to your fellow coworkers or something. All these things that you can do to sort of evangelize ClickHouse. We're here for you if you want to do that. If you want to present at a meetup or a conference, we'll happily set that up for you, assist you in, applying for a conference or something. So, we'd love to see that for those of you that do get certified. So, all right. So just some reasons to get certified. Let's get to the sort of heart of why we're here. Let's take a look at the exam and how to prepare for it. To be fully prepared for this exam, you should be able to complete all of the exam objectives listed on our website. Now, I have the link there. It's clickhouse.com/learn/certification. You can type that in or just go to if you just go to clickhouse.com, you'll see under resources, we have a learning and certification page, and it takes you to this page right here. So we only have one exam. All the details of the exam are listed here. This is a crucial page for you to come visit. Now, it has lots of logistical things that are good to know, like how much does it cost? It's $200. And how long does it take to complete? It takes 2 hours. But more importantly, in the context of preparing for the exam, you need to go to uh, scroll down to the exam objectives. And everything that could possibly be on the exam is listed here under exam objectives. And so you'll notice as you go through these, now I put them into categories like modeling data, inserting data, analyzing data, optimizing queries, deduplication, and mutations. You'll notice as you read through this, these are very actionable, task-oriented exam objectives. Create a new database. Look, that's very simple. I'm not going to have a question on there that says create a new database and then move on to the next step. But you should know how to do that as part of a task that I might give you. Okay. Insert a file from cloud storage into a table. Provide minor transformations to columns as they're being inserted. Now, I'm not going to read all these. I'm just kind of going down here. You should be able to write a query that satisfies a given criteria. I mean, getting the data in is one thing, but there will be some expectations that you know SQL, and more important, not just SQL, because I don't want to test you on your SQL knowledge. What I really want to test you on is your knowledge of ClickHouse, how to use our functions. We have, 1,500 functions that, can do all kinds of things to transform your data, and a couple hundred aggregate functions for doing all sorts of interesting analysis. Okay. And so you should be familiar with those. You should be able to do some very, you know, interesting things to answer questions, or the basic stuff like even min, max, sum, and average that I have listed there. So, all right. You should be able to define a materialized view, define a projection, define a skipping index, do a lightweight delete, uh, use a replacing merge tree or collapsing merge tree. Those should all be things that you should be familiar with. Now, one thing I didn't do, I'm going to go there right now. I didn't open it up yet. I'm going to go to the resources that we have. So we have this, our free training. If you go to clickhouse.com/learn and click on Browse Catalog, this will take you to what we call the ClickHouse Academy. Now, and I can go back to the slides for a second, just to kind of give you an overview of it. All of our training is free. We have on-demand training. We do these types of trainings quite a bit where we virtually, over Zoom, offer live in-person, virtual, I guess, not in-person, virtual training, but live. And then sometimes we even do it in person. We actually have training at events all around the world. They're all free of charge. And so there's really no excuse to, not be able to fully prepare for the exam. If you go to the upcoming events on our website, and I'll just go to clickhouse.com again, you can see, if we go to the free, if I can click on it, free live training, I don't even know, like, it looks like we're doing a virtual delivery in a couple of weeks or next week. So it looks like we'll be in Paris if you speak French in March. And so, go through this list of upcoming events and see maybe the next time you want to take this. The training is this developer training that we have. If you go to learning paths, we have a learning path called ClickHouse Developer. It consists of 12 separate sort of smaller trainings. They're just little courses that put together make this entire developer learning path. This is the exam. Everything in these 12 modules is covered. It covers everything that's on the exam. And so if I go back, by the way, you can enroll in all 12 courses just by going here to the learning path. Or if I go back to on demand, you can see there's module 1, module 2. You see all 12 modules. We've got them nicely listed here inside the ClickHouse Academy. You can take each topic individually. If you're not familiar with aggregations and materialized views, you can, go there and just take that part of the course if you want. All right. So let me go back over here. The training is all free. The exam attempts are $200 per attempt. Now there's a big reason for that. I can't give away everything. First of all, it does cost money for us to deliver these exams. And so the other sort of real reason, I don't know, this might sound odd to say it this way, but if I give the exam away, then there's no sort of incentive for you to study for the exam. And I'd have all kinds of people taking the exam for free and probably not preparing fully because you're not sort of invested in it. And so even if you pay a little bit for the exam, it's nice. $200 is not expensive for this sort of high quality type of certification. This is, this is a legit, this isn't some multiple choice test or something where you can just do it online quick. Like this is a real exam. It's a very meaningful certification. And so the cost is pretty nominal actually. Um, and for what it's worth, if you don't do well on the exam, if you get something, if you really are struggling, most people, I would say, pass the exam on their first attempt. I don't know what well over half the people pass the exam on their first attempt. It's probably closer to three-fourths of people. Some people just aren't prepared, and I can see that when I grade the tests. And so I really don't think the exam is hard. And so as I'm talking about the dollar amount, I do want to emphasize this exam is not meant to be tricky. There's nothing on the exam that is meant to try and see how clever you are with some nuances of ClickHouse. This is a performance-based, task-oriented exam. And like I said, I'll show you the environment in just a little bit. You have 2 hours to complete the exam. It's about 10 to 12 tasks, depending on which version of the exam you have. There's no multiple choice, no true false, none of this fill in the blank, try to figure out some weird answer to a oddly worded question. Okay. The exam is actionable tasks. I'm going to give you a table and say, write a query that answers this question. I'm going to give you a table and say, define a materialized view that solves this problem for us or optimizes this query. I'm going to give you a table and I'm going to say, define a skipping index on this table or a projection or something like that. So like I said, they're very task oriented. I'm going to point to a file that you can download from the cloud, and I'm going to say, create a table that contains the data in this file, things that you can do. And so keep that in mind that if you're comfortable and familiar with ClickHouse, if you have any kind of experience at all with these day-to-day tasks of ClickHouse, there's nothing on the exam that's even going to confuse you. Like you should be able to just work your way right through it. Now, we don't use ClickHouse Cloud in the exam. And so there is one thing that you're about to find out. I'm going to show it to you is that the SQL console is not available. So you'll have to familiarize yourself with the ClickHouse client. If you haven't used that before, try it out. You can use that with your cloud account or your cloud service as well. So, all right. The exam's on a website called HackerRank. That's what I'm about to show you here as we go through this. So you'll have to, go through the process of that. Make sure that you can access that website. That's not a higher concern for me because usually everyone can do that. But if I go back to the certification page, this is what the process is going to look like. You're going to go to clickhouse.com/learn/certification. You've gone through the 12 modules of the developer course. You've done all the labs. And by the way, the labs are very important. That's where you're going to get the hands-on experience that you need to complete these tasks. You're going to click on purchase now, and you're going to purchase the exam. Now, if you have a little promotion code, if you got one of those, you can put that in there. You'll pay for the exam, and then we'll send you an email. And the email is going to explain what to do next. You can, once you purchase the exam, you have 1 year from the day you purchase the exam to actually take the exam. The exam is not scheduled. You don't have to, pick a date next Tuesday at 4 p.m. or something. You can pay for the exam, and within 5 minutes, you could be taking the exam because it's ready to go whenever you are. So now that you have the exam attempt, whenever the time comes and you're ready to take the exam, you'll click on the link in the email we sent you, and then then the exam will start up, and I'll show you what it looks like. Yeah, that's my next slide. So let's walk through a list of the sample exam. Now I'm not going to go through the checkout process. I'm sure we're all capable of using Stripe to purchase something. But let me go to the Hacker Rank page. So you've purchased it, you're sitting down, you've got your desk cleaned off, you've got a quiet space, and you've got 2 hours. You want to take the test right now. This is this is what it's going to look like when you click on the link that we sent you. Now, this is a demo. You can see I put the word demo in here. I'm not going to show you the real exam, obviously. Um, and it only has 3 questions. I just wrote 3 questions. But like I said, it'll be 10 or 11, something like that, somewhere around that. Um, and then I have all these instructions, and the clock hasn't started yet. So you have 2 hours from when you start. Take your time. You can read through all of the comments that are here. There is a step here that right away you have to verify who you are. And so you'll have to hold up some sort of photo ID that validates, it uses this AI sort of thing to figure out who you are, at least to verify that you are who you say you are. And that really is the only sort of security mechanism that we have. We don't have someone watching you take the test the whole time. We just use a little, mechanism to sort of make sure that it's you. And so keep that in mind. As you go through, I'm not going to read all these in detail. Like I said, you can do this yourself. You'll see how the ClickHouse client works, and I'll happily show you how to do that. You can complete the tasks in any order. You can jump around, move between tasks at any time. You can get halfway through a task and maybe you just want to take a break and go do a different one. You can just jump around all of them. When you're done with a task, you submit them. There's a little sample test you can take. To be honest, I've never done it. I'm afraid to click on it because I don't want to lose my. Oh yeah, it opens up a little tab. That's up to you if you want to take the little sample test. Again, it's not counting against your time. I'm going to show you a sample test right now. So, in fact, um, the first thing I have to do, again, this is the sample test. Skip that. You go all the way down to the bottom. Before you can take the test, it's going to ask you for your ID. I don't have my ID. Let me hold this up. And it's going to say, nope, that didn't work. Your lighting's fine. I don't know what's wrong with my lighting. You'll have to hold up your photo ID. And I'm just going to, now this is just a demo, so I'm going to fail this part. Just going to hit continue till it goes away. I don't know if you can see all that. There we go. So, okay. So I've gotten past that. I should have put my ID there, but just for demo purposes, I didn't. I'm going to agree to not copy the code. I'm going to agree to not take the questions or solutions and share them in any way. I agree to the terms of service. You can certainly feel free to go through and read those as well. And now I'm going to start the exam. So this is where now the clock hasn't started yet, but it takes about a minute or so for this exam to start up. And then when it does, that's when the 2 minutes, sorry, the 2 hours will start. Can you access the docs? Yes. I have the documentation open here on another tab. So I'll definitely use the documentation. I mean, it's absolutely essential. In fact, I would say anyone who would consider themselves a ClickHouse subject matter expert, I would think you'd be very comfortable with the documentation just because you would have spent so much time in there. So cool. Yes, the docs are my Bible. Yes, they're very helpful. Very, very helpful. So let me look at some of the questions here. Someone asked about the prerequisite. You're not required to take any training at all. You can just take the exam anytime you want. The back over here, it's still provisioning. The training is free. It's just for you to take whenever you want. I mean, if you certainly don't have to take the training at all. It's just highly recommended. So if you go to our catalog, and like I said, you can do the learning path or you can take each one separately. It's all the same. It's these 12 modules. Figure an hour for each module. When we teach it, we usually take 2 days to go through it. that's that's us teaching very rapidly. I would assume if you did all the labs, it would take you a week or two to work your way through it. Um, if you're already familiar with ClickHouse, if you already define materialized views, if you already, know how to use replacing merge tree, though that'll obviously speed up your preparation time because you'll be, further along in the process. So, okay. Did it go? Ah, it's ready to go. So, the server's provision, that maybe took like 2 minutes. I'm gonna go to the test, and I hope I passed the test. Okay. So, this is my three questions that I just grabbed three questions that I thought, I don't know, might be reflective of what the real exam is like. Notice you can see the clock in the upper right-hand corner. So I have an hour and 59 minutes left. Um, Down over on the left-hand side, I can see all the questions, and this is how you can navigate between them. So I can go to question one, question two. By the way, each one has its own terminal if it's applicable. And then question three, I think they all have a terminal. Or I can go back to the test instructions. So you can kind of navigate using this left-hand sidebar between them all. I'll just go to question number one. This is it. Like this is what the exam looks like. I made up this question to do this, this webinar. Um, but it should be very reflective of what you'll find. Notice over here in the terminal, I started ClickHouse client for you. So you can write SQL commands. I know it's probably really small. I don't know if I can make that bigger or not. I can make it a little bigger. Um, if you're in it, one thing I noticed a couple times I've seen this, people have gotten out of the terminal and they didn't read the instructions. If you read the instructions, it tells you that you're in ClickHouse Client. If you accidentally exit ClickHouse Client, if you have a query and you hit Control C and you get bumped out of the ClickHouse Client, just start it back up again. ClickHouse Client is, it's installed on this terminal in this environment. And so you can go right back to it. It looks like there's one table. I don't know if that table has anything to do with the question, but I assume it does because there's a table called task one. And I don't know how big it is. I'll just go through. I'll just see how, I don't, you don't have to do any of this. I'm just seeing very small table. It's only got 8,000 rows. I'll just select all the rows from task one and see what it looks like. Don't know. Let's read the question. It says view the details of task one. Whoops. Um, there's a date. It's stock prices, open, high, low, close, volume. Here's the here's the task. So that's the little setup. So I'm dealing with stock data, and the task is modify the task one table by satisfying the following requirements. Add a column named daily diff of type float 64. Daily diff is the difference between the high and the low for the given row, and then populate that new column so that it has the correct value. Oh, okay. So I have stock data. I've got an open, a high, a low, a close. They want me to add a column. How do you add a column to a table? Let's see how I do this. Add a column. So I'm going to alter table task one. I'm going to add a column named daily diff, and it says use float 64. And the default value is going to be the high minus the low. All right, let's see if that works. Let me describe task one, and you can see that the column is there. I got the data type right. The default value is high minus low, but notice if I select star from task one, and I can't see it very well, let me format it vertically. And I don't need every row. Let me just grab 100 rows. Whoops, I did that backwards. I'll just grab them all. You'll notice that the daily diff, oh, it did it. It computed the daily diff for me. That's awesome. I was going to say, if it didn't, if the difference between, if this column was a bunch of zeros, you can alter the table and you can materialize the column daily diff. I hope I typed that right. Let's see. Yep, Either way, it was already done. I don't know why it did it for me. Sometimes I would have thought that would have been zero, honestly, for all those, but either way, if you don't have to materialize it, you don't have to. It works, and I'm feeling pretty good about this. Um, oh, so someone asked a really good question. What if I mess up the table? Is there a way to reset it? Oh gosh. I don't, I can't think of a way to reset this. And the way I have this particular question set up, if I if I mess this up, I'm probably in trouble. I'll tell you what you could do. The table's still there. You know what I mean? So I could I have the table. You can see the create statement right here. I suppose if you're in a bind, I suppose you could copy this and recreate the table. You could drop the table and recreate it. It wouldn't be populated, but you could still add the column. You know what I mean? Like I could still give you some credit for adding the column, but yeah, you'd be in trouble. Don't mess it up. Yeah, there you go. You could make a copy of the table. I suppose you could. It's not a very big table. I didn't even think about that. If you mess it up, you mess it up. Hey, that's the real world. This is a real world hands-on exam, and that's a real world problem. Um, yeah. So I'll let you figure out how to resolve that. So, I wouldn't recommend don't go making a backup of every table. This particular task asked you to modify an existing table. You won't be doing that every single question. Okay. So let's go to the next question. For what it's worth, if you submit a question, it takes you to the next question. If you want to change your answer, you can always go back and resubmit it. You can always go to all and modify your answer. You know what I mean? Like you're never stuck when you submit a question. The only time that you sort of end things is when you submit the test. Now, if you submit the test and then you realize, oh shoot, I wish I had done something different. Well, it's too late. Once you submit the test, even if you have time left, obviously that's too late and you're done. Let's go to question two just for fun. Let's see what question two is. So it says review the task two table. So if I hope it's there, first of all, it is. Let's describe task two. Task two. Oh, well, anyone who's taken the trainings is going to recognize this data set. It's some property prices. If I select count from task two, I've got 2.77 million rows. I don't have to modify the table. Don't do anything to the table. Just leave it. If I select star from task two, grab 100 rows, format it vertical so I can see it, you'll see that there's property being sold. There's the price. Oh, there's the date. I messed that up. Don't worry about that. This question doesn't require the date, and I think I did something wrong in my little demo thing. But anyway, let's go through what it says to do. It says, all right, define a new materialized view. Okay. For the task two table, I'm going to define a new view called task two view. The view keeps track of the most expensive property sold in each town, and the view keeps track of the average price of all properties sold in each town. That tells me everything I need to know about this question. This is the materialized view question that requires you to use an aggregating merge tree. If you're not familiar with aggregating merge tree, make sure you go through the training and you understand how those work. It's a very important aspect of ClickHouse. And I don't know if there's a question on your exam when you take it, but probably, it's definitely something you should know how to do. This is, very typical tough stuff here. It's telling me to create a materialized view. Store the results in a table called task two underscore destination. I got to start there. Here, let's create a table. Let me do it. Let's create a table called task to destination. It's going to have a column called, well, I'm grouping by town, so let's add town to it. I think town's a low cardinality string. Just let me make it a low cardinality string so it matches. It's not crucial, but just to be smart about it. I need a column called most expensive. Uh, doesn't say what data type to use, but I'm pretty sure the prices are, uh, I, I don't care. They're UN 32, I think. So, I should have looked at the table a little closer. It needs a column called average price. Oh, this is um, what am I doing? Um, I'm not using the right data types here. This is a aggregating merge tree. Most expensive is going to be an aggregate function of max. I could do a simple aggregate function actually if I want to, because max is a simple one. And the data coming in is a int 64 is what it is. And then average price is also going to be an aggregate function of average. That is also an int 64 coming in. Engine is going to be aggregating, better spell it right, aggregating merge tree. The primary key has to be the town since that's what it's asking me to do. I'm going to hit enter and hope I typed it right. Unknown data type, town. Oh, why did I do that? That was dumb. Let me go over there and put string. That should have been a string. Go. Ah, look at that. So there's my destination table. Looks like I named the columns properly, and I'm very excited about that. Now I can create the view. It says create a materialized view called task 2 underscore view that sends the data to task 2 destination. And there's going to be an as keyword, and I'm going to select. Now, everything has to match up. I'm going to select town. I need to know, I need most expensive to be the maximum price. Well, you have to use max simple state to do that. That's going to be the maximum price. Make sure you use the as keyword and send that to most expensive. And then I need to do the average state function of the price. And make sure you use the as keyword and put that into average price. I'm going to take this from the task 2 table and I need to group by town. Oh gosh, let's hope that worked. Okay. So if I select star from task 2 destination, it should be empty. Why is it empty? Because I haven't populated it yet. But if I go over here and look at the task, it says the task 2 destination needs to be populated with the data from the existing rows. So I'm just going to copy this query that I wrote, copy, and I'm going to insert into task 2 destination, select star. That's all you do is do that. Now, if you select star from task 2 destination, it's going to look like kind of garbage. It's going to have the maximum price, but the average is going to look weird. That's not how you write a query on an aggregating merge tree table. When you query a merge tree table, you always group by, and you find the maximum of most expensive, and you don't even have to do that really. Yeah, you can though. Yeah, I need maximum. I need the average merge of the average price from task to destination. I can hit tab and I can group by town. And now I get the most expensive house in Barnett is $1.6 million or pounds or whatever it is. And the average price is 361,523. And now I'm very happy. And it doesn't say to do anything else. All right. So I'm going to move on to the next task. Any questions on that? So, all right. Okay. Is the exam graded manually? Yes. Yes and no. I shouldn't say that. We have scripts that grade the exams, but I look at every question. I look at every solution, I should say, of everybody who takes the test. There's human eyes on it, and I look at every one because the grading scripts aren't perfect. Oh, I didn't submit that. So I'm done. I'm going to hit submit. Hopefully I did okay. This one says write a query. So this has an interesting note at the beginning of the question. It says, after you write your query, you got to save it in a file named task3.sql. That's because the grading script is going to read that file and run that query on your instance here. And so you're going to have to echo. Now I'm kind of zoomed in, so it doesn't look great, but here I can make it bigger. It says echo. There's an echo command that I gave you to do this. So, all right. So let's go down to the question. It says there's a table called flights. Let's show the tables. We've got a table called flights. I select star from flights and I grab 100 rows. And these look like airline flights. Now that's terrible format because it's so small. But if I do vertical, these are airline flights with a date, origin, destination, when did it leave? When did it arrive? Was it late? Was it early? This one was 13 minutes early. There you go. So here's what the question is. So you get past all the details of the table and it says, here's what you need to do. Write a query that returns 3 values. For each airline, I want the name of the airline, the largest value of the arrival delay. So I want the maximum. Here, let's do it. I want the maximum arrival delay. And then I want, from task 3 is the name of it. Oh no, what's the table called? Flights, from flights. What's it called? Flights. And then group by airline. I'm just gonna do that really quick just to see it. So there's the maximum. Yeah, that worked pretty well. But the third thing says I want the flight number. I want the flight number that corresponds to this largest delay. So for example, UA, I think that's United Airlines. So United Airlines had a flight that was 1,631 minutes late. That's a long time. That's hours late. That's crazy. Okay. So a very late flight. I want to know what the flight number was. I want the details of that flight. Well, look, this is everything up till now is just pretty simple SQL. This is where your ClickHouse knowledge is really being tested. Like the whole sort of goal of this question is for you to what? You can write SQL. I can write a subquery that finds the flight number, knowing that the maximum flight for this is 1,631. I could go find that flight number and return it. Look, write a subquery all day long. I don't care how you do that. I don't care how you get the answer. But if you're a ClickHouse developer, you would know that you can get the flight number from the longest arrival delay by using the argmax function. And I can't see that on the screen because I zoomed in too far. I got to make this smaller. There we go. Yeah, you can use the argmax flight number arrival delay, and you can see that I probably spelled it wrong. No, oh yeah, I did spell it wrong. Okay. There you go. So that United flight, 1631, the flight number was 208. Oh, hey, argmax. That's a great ClickHouse function. You should know how to use that with or without the exam. That should be something you know. I'm happy with my answer. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to copy it. And then I'm going to exit the client. It tells you up here how to do that. It says exit the client and then cat your answer into a file called task3.sql. So I put it in double quotes. I copied and pasted my query, put it in double quotes, used the cat command, piped it to a file. You can use the cat command to look at the file, make sure it's there. It's not there. What happened? Cat. Is it there? Yeah, the file's there. S3.sql. Wow, I did not echo that. Oh, I used cat instead of, oh, that's funny. I used cat instead of echo. I did that wrong. That's easy to fix. I can change cat to echo. I didn't follow the instructions, even though it said to use echo. And now if I cat, I can get jump the gun. Ah, there's my answer. And I'm happy. By the way, if I need to go back to the ClickHouse client, I can type in ClickHouse client and go back here and run some more commands. If I'm not comfortable, I can delete the answer and type it in again. I submit it. And now I've done the whole test. I can go back and modify my answers, but I'm happy with what I've done. We've got an hour and 40 minutes left, so that took me 20 minutes. Um, that's I was talking a lot and I made a couple mistakes, but that's pretty normal. Can I type the SQL in a notepad? Sure, you could do that. I think that'd be totally fine. I don't see anything wrong with that. So, no. Um, I'm going to hit submit test and see what happens. No, you can go back. Yes, close the test. I'm completely done. Look, you're not, um, it behind the scenes, these scripts run and they give me sort of a partial scoring, but you won't get an answer right away. Like you got to wait. You literally have to wait for me to grade the test. And that can take up to 3 or 4 days. If it's a weekend, maybe I'll grade them on weekends. I'll grade them whenever, but you got to expect a few days. So you're done. Take a deep breath. Relax. You've gone through the stressful part of the test. Hopefully you're feeling good about it. Usually you know if you passed or failed. It's pretty rare that somebody barely passes. I see people do really well on the exam or they do completely awful on the exam because they either weren't prepared or they panicked or they just didn't, weren't comfortable with the environment or something. So practice using this ClickHouse client if you're not familiar with it. There you go. I think that's great. So there's the live demo. You wait a few days, you get an email from me, it says you're certified, and it's lovely. You're going to get a digital badge from a vendor called Credly, and you're going to take that digital badge, and I hope you share it everywhere. LinkedIn, I hope you tweet it. I don't care what you do. Tag me in it. We'll have ClickHouse share it and retweet it for you or whatever you want to do. And everybody at ClickHouse will celebrate, and all your friends and coworkers will celebrate with you. Um, the wait is more stressful than the exam. Probably the wait is more stressful. I feel bad about that, but it's just part of the deal, I guess. Um, so what materials are available in the exam? Look, you can use the documentation and you can go to clickhouse.com and use the blogs as well. But, whoops, did I spell that wrong? But don't, you're not allowed to ask your coworkers how to do this or I mean, the intent is for you to be in a space by yourself. You can use the docs, you can use anything on clickhouse.com. That's all you need. If you go to Chat GPT, look, that's that's a disaster waiting to happen. Yeah, I think I don't think that's necessary. I think this is all going to be super easily done inside the exam environment, and you're not allowed to go to those sorts of things. So, can I clear the terminal? I don't know. Maybe. Oh no, there's nothing you can do. There's nothing you can do during the exam that messes up the grading scripts at all. All the grading scripts are hidden, and yeah, you don't have to worry about anything like that. So, um, by the way, you'll get a digital badge. This is a sticker. I don't know if you can see it in the camera. Nice sticker you can put on your laptop. This is a really cool poker chip, which I love. It's fun to fidget with. Um, And you'll also get a t-shirt that says ClickHouse Certified Developer. And, just what goes with this, I hope it does, you know, uh, improve your career growth. I hope it does improve your, whatever you're looking for in life with this knowledge of ClickHouse. It's such a great piece of technology. And if you can make a career out of this, I think it's lovely. Um, What percentage of questions have to be answered to pass the exam? That's a really good question. You need a 70%. And as I didn't show you this, it was there. I just didn't really show it to you very closely. Inside the exam, it said this question is worth 10 points. This question is worth 5 points. And the questions are either worth 5 or 10 points. Some of the simpler ones are worth five, and most of them are worth 10 points. So. If you lose your connection during the exam, that would be an odd thing. I've never seen that happen. If the wheels come off and you just, I don't know, something happens, your power goes out or something, um, just send me an email. I'll take care of it. I'll send you a free retake. So yeah, don't worry about that. And this is meant to be a low stress, enjoyable experience. I really think the exam is fun. it's 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 not easy, but it's fair. Like there's nothing I'm going to ask you that isn't a fair question to ask of you. And as you get some momentum through the exam, it really is fun to do. I mean, ClickHouse is fun. So, uh, someone asked, do I need to renew the certification? No, we're not going to play that game. It's good. You know it, you'll know it forever. So it's good forever. So, um, really, because I just didn't want to mess with that. We did that at my previous company and it was a lot of work. So here you're just certified forever. Make sure the questions are all answered. All right, there we go. And for what it's worth, go back to this page, clickhouse.com/learn/certification. There are a list of frequently asked questions. You have to click on them to go down towards the bottom of the page. Lots of them. Why should I get certified? What's the format of the exam? How long is the exam? Look, these questions, I hopefully answered all of them, um, you know, as as I went through this, but can I take a break during the exam? I suppose you can. I mean, it's a 2-hour exam. It's your time. You can get up and take a nap if you want, but you don't get the time back. So, um, are the certificates verifiable? Yes, that's a really good question. We use a third-party vendor called Credly that verifies your digital badge and your certification. And actually, if you go to Credly, that's how you share your digital badge. You're going to share your Credly link when you share it on Twitter or LinkedIn or X or whatever. And then you can also go to Credly, and I believe, if I'm saying this right, you can print out the certificate as well. Or no, you get that in the mail, I think. Oh, Kristen, you got to help me on that one. Maybe you get it in the mail.
Yeah, you get both. We'll be sending them in the mail shortly, and it's something new that we offer. But you can also print it online, the Credly badge, and then we also have the talent directory in Credly, which future employers, can validate their certification as well.
Yeah, I wonder if I can find that page. Yeah, I think I can right here. So if you go to the Credly page, this is a public facing page, your name will show up if you want it to. You have to sort of opt in, but if you want it to, your name will show up in our talent directory and you'll be able to see all the badges and the certified professionals will be here. So, yeah, so it's pretty cool. I can search for certified developers. I don't know who's in the directory. It looks like there's 55 names in the directory here. So these are 55 people that are certified and share their badges. So on Credly, or I should say they told Credly, yes, add me to the little talent directory. So very cool. Oh, thanks, Kristen. I'm glad you thought of that because I forgot about that too. So, all right. Thanks, everyone. If you have any questions, honestly, you can send us an email, certification@clickhouse.com. That's great. If you're in this community Slack, we're in there all the time. There's a ClickHouse Academy channel in the ClickHouse community Slack. I highly recommend you join the community Slack. The help channel has 9,000 people in it. Like it's a great place to get answers to all your questions. But if you have a question specifically about certification or the ClickHouse Academy, we do have a channel for that as well. So very nice. Go to clickhouse.com/Slack, or you can click on the link that Kristen just shared. All right. Thanks, everyone. Good luck. If you do get certified, come find us someday. Find me at a training or a meetup. I'd love to meet you. Yeah, super excited. And yeah, best of luck on your ClickHouse journey.